the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Thank you always for downloading and listening to this show. It's a great pleasure to talk to you once again today. The very first podcast of 2021 for myself, as of course I do Brave the Wild, Timberwolves Explosion, and Purple Mafia. Those are all sports podcasts. Minnesota-based for the Vikings, Wild, and Timberwolves. But of course I wanted to get this show going to really get my true point of view on things politically, spiritually, this and that, and even some other stuff like Mandela Effect. Maybe some days we'll talk about stocks, we'll talk about this and that. Hopefully I'll be able to record this more and more often for you out there. Obviously it's still a very fledgling show, episode number 7 in this case. Today is the one that some of you may have been anticipating a bit because I kind of hinted at it. Why am I a conservative? So I might as well open up 2021 with why I am a conservative. Well, reason number 1, I'd have to say is I believe people should have to earn their money, not receive it from the government. And that includes just so many people. People that come here to not, they say they come here to work, but in all honesty, it looks like they come here to work the system. Oh, they might show up to work, but they try to find any way possible they can get free money. They can get a free lunch, so to speak. I have COVID-19 when they don't. Like people that have come in and played that game about 3 or 4 times already. Or they'll call in or something. You know, they magically have a fever on Friday. I had an episode about that a little while back, about people lying about COVID and all that. That's just kind of, it's the same type of people that want to cut corners. They just want to receive rather than give. Just like John F. Kennedy many years ago said, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Well, exactly. In a lot of ways, John F. Kennedy would have most likely been a conservative, even though you'd think of all people, Kennedy, not New World Order, Kennedy, conservative? Really? That's the weirdest thing ever. You'd think, like, and at least, or if he was a conservative, he'd be a neocon, a rhino, where they're basically New World Order, and they tax the hell out of people. But just that statement alone says something, and also the fact that he was against secret proceedings, secret oaths, and all that. That speech, that comment, obviously was very telling that he was against the New World Order, not for it. Because why would he say that? So, and of course, Mr. Eisenhower that preceded him, of course, with the whole warning of the military-industrial complex. Beware of the military-industrial complex. That the very possibility of the rise of, basically communism exists and persists. A fascist dictatorship does exist and persist. The military-industrial complex. And nowadays you could even call it the government media complex as well, which Michael Savage calls it. So, of course, that is not that is not from me. It is from Michael Savage. I will absolutely cite him, of course. One of the best, obviously one of the best voices for conservatism on the planet. Unfortunately, he's already like 79 years old, but he is absolutely fantastic, and he's still rolling. His radio career literally just ended yesterday, and now his podcasting, full-time podcasting career has begun as the Savage Nation continues with podcasts. Obviously, you want to check that out, no kidding. Not that he needs my help, but hey, might as well mention it anyway. If you're a nice, strong, conservative voice, of course, and all that. Very interesting guy. I believe in Christian morals. That would be another reason. And, of course, I can kind of banter back and forth with some of this, but people need to earn their money. They need to be honest, this and that. I don't like the thought of my taxes going to people that don't want to work, people that just want to play games, people that just want to, there's just so many issues out there. Like, companies literally bend over backwards now for this and that. There's a lot of gray area topics like women's rights, this and that. And you know what? I believe women have all of their rights. I do. I do believe women have their rights. I'm not anti-woman at all. People used to think I was, and it's like, what are you talking about? Just because I don't think just because I don't think that women need more rights, this and that. Okay, sure. If men are bullies, men are bullies. That's bad. That is an individual thing. That doesn't mean women don't have their rights. If a man is a bully, that's an individual bad guy. Exploit him, put him where he belongs, this and that, and so on and so forth. That is not a lack of rights. I mean, you so much as sneeze near a woman nowadays, you're pretty much considered for sexual harassment. I mean, there have been so many frivolous sexual harassment cases out there that could drive somebody absolutely insane, which are complete bullshit, complete bullcrap. Pardon my French, but I might as well say it. It is complete garbage. Already kind of bouncing in between topics, but then again, that is another one out there. I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, people that just constantly, like say somebody is pregnant and has a kid, this and that. Nowadays, women can literally get paid for 6 months, up to 6 months from their company for doing nothing, basically. And I understand pregnancy and this and that. It's going to take time. 2 to 3 months, I got to think that's a lot of time. 6 months, and they're literally fully paid this and that. And it's not just that it's there. It's the fact that people out there would take advantage of that lickety-split. And to me, those are the kind of people that drive me nuts. Like, you just want to just milk any and every little thing you can get. And that's why they continue to vote Democrat. One thing after another. I mean, there's more topics than ones that I've written down that I could get into. I'm going to go back into this as well. I mean, it's kind of like a Christian moral honesty type of thing as well when it comes to couples that live together and get, and they pop out kids and they don't get the marriage license, this and that. And they just collect from the government because they register as single. And so they get they register as a single parent, basically, tax-wise. So they get massive tax benefits for having 3 kids or something. Even if they are married, they never signed any paper that they're married. And that is certain groups out there. I won't say. Obviously, it's every group, basically, that does it. Certain groups do it more often than others. It's not just one. It's a big chunk of certain groups, like about 3 or 4 or 5 different groups out there that pull this crap. And so a lot of them are immigrants. Some of them are not. Some of them are. Some of them are just a white couple in South Minneapolis, this and that. So it's not just one group. It's every group. I'm just saying, it is every group that pulls this crap. And people that do this, it's unbelievable, especially when you think about the amount of benefits they get. I mean, I've heard cases of $16,000, $18,000, $20,000 a year going to people that, in a lot of cases, it's a certain group that pulls this one, that they are married, but they never sign the paper. So they are married in their quote-unquote traditional way, and then they never sign the paper, so they come up as a single parent tax-wise. And I've long supported a possibility of, because I know even a state like Oregon, leftist Oregon of all places, has a law. If I remember, it was years ago I heard this. I don't know if it's still in place, but it was years ago. If you're living with the same person for 10 years, you're married. You're married. So it counts as married, so now you don't get those single parent benefits anymore. I would, if I could, I'd go as far as like 5 years at that point. 5 years, 10 absolutely, but 5 years. I mean, that should be like national. That should be a national thing. That should be federal. This and that. You are not a single parent. You're not. It's obvious you're not a single parent. You're living with the same person. It's a joint income, this and that. Me personally, I strongly believe in marriage and not just living together. I don't agree with that. Others may disagree. It's your life, whatever. But I strongly believe in marriage, this and that. Even though marriage isn't always a pretty thing, sometimes bad things happen. But I just feel it's better to have that commitment, that spiritual and mental and physical commitment to your partner. And I do believe that partner should be the opposite sex. Yes, I do believe that. And please don't get offended by that. Obviously, there are people that might be socially liberal. They're strong conservatives in terms of like fiscal and small government and control, this and that. But they're socially liberal on a lot of things. A lot of that's the younger generation. Please don't be offended by that. I am more of a traditional paleo-conservative, you could say. Paleo, not neoconservative. Paleo-conservative that believes in You know, I believe in Christian morals, keeping God a part of things, saying Merry Christmas versus Happy Holidays. Again, I support traditional marriage. I don't believe churches should be forced to marry a same-sex couple if they don't agree, because that's control. There's plenty of churches out there that would do that. They would marry a same-sex couple. I strongly disagree with that. I am not a bigot. I mean, I don't believe in hating people that are homosexual or whatever. I don't hate them. I just disagree. The old song of "There's no good guy, there's no bad guy, we just disagree." You know, and that's how I want to see it. So please don't be offended. Again, it's just that's one of the reasons I'm conservative. In a lot of ways, though, I believe in honesty, integrity, this and that. But no, I have a fundamental belief in traditional marriage. Same with bakers being forced to bake a cake bake a cake for same-sex marriage. This and that. Same-sex marriage, that kind of thing. I just don't believe in it. I just fundamentally disagree. I don't hate you. I just disagree. And that's all there is to say about that. And I don't think the government should force people to bake a cake or wed a couple if they don't agree with, same-sex marriage. I just believe that's... I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's honest. I don't think that's right. I'm also, again, very pro-life because it's not like you're giving the baby a choice. Like how women say, my body, my choice. Well, you could say the same thing about the frickin' vaccine. My body, my choice, right? But those same people might be out there with their masks on that say stuff on it that I might disagree with as well. Let's leave that alone. Certain groups out there, and obviously it's a blend of many, 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 many people of all races, of course, that are pro-choice and this and that. But to me, you're not giving the baby a choice, for one. And I'm not even somebody that wants to have a bunch of kids. I'm not a big fan of all that. I think it's crazy. I think it's a little obnoxious and out of control. Think about that. Take that from somebody that doesn't even really want to have kids that bad. That type of thing. Again, if that type of thing. But again, I support... I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life. I mean, Planned Parenthood, to me, was founded by... Obviously, I mean, and it wasn't just to me, but factually, it's founded by people that worked with Adolf Hitler, for crying out loud. I mean, they're Nazi supporters. I mean, Bill Gates' father was an evil man, very evil man. And Bill Gates is a very, very evil man, in my humble belief, with this whole vaccine thing. Talk about it genetically altering your DNA. Can you imagine that? And just imagine if the government mandates that you have to have the vaccine to even get in a restaurant, to go to a swimming pool, public swimming pool, to live in an apartment. Could you imagine? To go to a sports game, to work at your bleeping job. Put it this way, if Boston Scientific mandates that you have to have a vaccine, I think that might be it for my 10 years, 11 years with the company. I think I might be adios, bye-bye. I don't like how crowded the place is to begin with. It's an okay job. It could be better, this and that. It's very overcrowded, and again, there's a lot of people out there that I fundamentally disagree with a lot of things. Let's just say, the milking one thing after another, where the company is forced by law to pay for this and that, and they milk every little bleeping thing they can, including the whole COVID-19 thing, and this and that. I mean, they sneeze basically, and they get 2 weeks off, paid, fully paid. It's just stealing. It is absolutely stealing. And I'm around it every day. I shouldn't even say what company I'm from, but at the end of the day, here's the thing. Before anybody wants to put my head in a platter, wants to put my head in a guillotine, it happens in every bleeping company, in every bleeping place, and every bleeping... Yeah, you get the idea. It's everywhere. So it's not just at that place. So please don't put my head in a guillotine and try to get me fired from that place, because it's everywhere. It is everywhere. McDonald's, Burger King, Medtronic, Target. You could name any company. Walmart. Holy cow. Don't get me started on Walmart with what they said just recently. Basically, I don't even want to get into it at this point. Obviously, it's been talked on other shows like Truth to Ponder and X22. I'm sure Michael Savage gets into it as well. Number 3, I generally believe in small government, less control. Let people decide if they feel safe with this or that, like the vaccine. Let people decide if they feel safe, particularly the vaccine. Common sense laws like red lights, 10 Commandment type stuff like thou shalt not kill, common sense. But like masks, closing businesses, limiting church gatherings, holiday and weekend get-togethers, and I hate the word holiday, but I have to generalize for that one because it could be any holiday of the whole year. So holiday and weekend gatherings, get-together, church gatherings, this and that. I remember Matt Hammond of Living Word Christian Center actually sued Governor Tim Walz here in Minnesota. That's where I'm based from, Minnesota, Golden Valley, Minnesota. So in case you're listening in Florida or Michigan or wherever, I am Minnesota-based. Woohoo, right? Very, very blue state. The only thing the one thing I like about blue is the sky. The sky is the most beautiful thing in the world. I love the sky. I love a blue sky. I don't like the gray sky. I like blue. I don't like weird orange colors. Well, orange is okay when it's the golden hour, as they call it, sunrise or sunset, kind of like around there, the golden hour. But yeah, when it's like a weird color because there's a huge fire somewhere, that sucks too. What am I even talking about? I just don't want, I don't want government control. It needs to be less and less. Now, obviously, some people might come back and say, hey, well, what about abortion? To me, again, that is a common sense type of thing. That's a morality type of thing. That's human life. That's human life. And I don't know. It's creepy. Just the words Planned Parenthood creep me out. The commercials and the propaganda creep me out so much. You watch a Timberwolves game now, there is a commercial, and it's just about every sport, but the Timberwolves games especially. There's a commercial that pops on, I believe, every single break. It is the most propaganda garbage I have ever seen in the history of the world. Just in case Jeff Johnson, who's a Timberwolves fan from Edina, is listening, who is on my side politically, he's on our side politically, he agreed, because I messaged him, I'm like, look at this crap. And he said, yes, it's awful. Younger guy, of course, in his 20s, might be upper 20s already, because I've known him for a while. He was a very young guy, not that long ago, obviously. Hope he still listens to Timberwolves Explosion. But, yeah, luckily there's a couple Timberwolves fans in this town that might be conservative. He's one, at least, and myself. So there's hope. There's hope. There's a couple of us. I believe Scott Curvers is a Timberwolves fan as well. Yeah, he's a Timberwolves fan. I believe he's a conservative as well. He's posted on the Facebook page for Timberwolves Explosion a couple times. Is the most leftist fan base in the history of sports, though. My God, Timberwolves fans are so leftist. They're pro all of that stuff. Like the propaganda you see in that commercial, that just goes on and on and on and on and on. I could just imagine them cheering that on like it's the best commercial ever. I could just see the smiles on their faces and just kind of that arrogant smirk, like, uh-huh. And then, shaking a fist at the camera. The little kid at the end shaking the fist at the camera just breaks my heart. Because of, how brainwashed she is. She's woke. No, you're not woke. You're the opposite of woke. You have the blue pill running through your veins at this moment. You vote blue, you have the blue pill. It's a fact. Go ahead and call it a movie or this and that. But some of this stuff is kind of real. Just like the 80s movie years ago with Kurt Russell, cool actor. With the sunglasses. I'm forgetting the name of the movie, but the sunglasses, where it's like, okay, Coca-Cola, Burger King, puts the glasses on, it says, obey. Obey. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. Honest to God. It's like the most real movie ever, because I do believe the people that made that movie they have a little inkling of what's really going on out there. In the 1980s, nobody thought about the New World Order and one world government. I mean, we did, reading the Bible and reading Revelation, but we didn't realize just how close to home all of that was. And all of that has been for a long time. I mean, we're talking like 1917-ish. We're talking like Woodrow Wilson era, with the Fed Reserve getting started during his administration in 1913. Federal Reserve. And the creepy number 11 now, it just keeps popping up everywhere with them. God has a lot of numbers like 7 and 12. But then there's the creepy ones like 6 and 13. And 11. I don't know. There's numbers for both sides, let's just say. It's weird stuff. It's weird. It's a weird world everywhere you look. It'll break your heart when you think about all this stuff that's really going on out there. And just how close to home it truly is. You can think, okay, New World Order, but that's like the European Union, the 10 nations. Yeah, of course. Of course, the European Union's very much New World Order. Of course it is. Just take a look at their policies. Just take a look at their belief systems, like France, Germany, places like that. It's just socialist as it gets. Socialism. And it broke my heart when my wife was so pro-France for so long. But luckily, she likes French people. I like French people too. But the policies of that nation at this moment places like Canada as well, it'll break your heart when you think about that. If somebody close to you is like admiring them, it's like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I admire them. No, they weren't exactly helpful in World War II, were they? Were France? They weren't too helpful. They kind of were one of the weaker countries. Thanks for helping, I guess, but not as much as, like, say, England or something. And even Russia, because Hitler betrayed them. That was probably God right there that made Hitler crazy. Like, oh, I could beat Russia too. I'm going to be the powerful emperor. Yeah, not necessarily. Going against Russia and the U.S.? Oops. Oops. That's all there. It's unbelievable stuff, though. I mean, again, just like that good movie, Obey. It's real. It's real. It's propaganda. It's on every commercial. It's there. You just might not see it all the time, but it is frickin' real. Mandela effect. I'm not sure exactly the point of what the Mandela effect is, but that's real too. I can't wait to get Paul Caniff on to talk about that. Paul Caniff or Paul Tuniverse Caniff, depends on if he likes the nickname or not to be brought up on the show. He used to, and then it seemed like he didn't like it as much. I don't know. It's up to him. It's his choice. It's his name. It's his choice, right? Oh, man. America first. That's another major reason why I'm a conservative. America first. I've always felt this way. Why are we, the taxpayers, forking over billions and billions, like Donald Trump would say, to other countries that don't even like us? Why are we letting China rip us off with bogus trade agreements that have made them the most powerful nation on earth? Why are we, why did the Obamas of the world basically sign an agreement that basically had Iran basically like laughing at us immediately, like they violated the deal immediately, and were laughing at us. And that was when Trump went on his rant saying, "You are so incompetent." That was kind of fun, even though people might be like, "Oh, he better stop. He's got to calm down. He's going to offend everybody." Calling Obama doesn't offend me. Calling Obama incompetent doesn't offend me at all. Not even a little bit. Obama, God. It's not even if he's incompetent. He's evil. Obama is pure evil to me. Just that arrogance, that anger in his voice. And I'm going to interrupt myself again with another thing. Some of these prophecies out there, at this point, I'm at a point now, I'm not clicking on any of them anymore. Let's just let happen what's going to happen. Keep praying, keep believing. That's what you got to do. Because there was a Kim Clement. Now, he predicted about Donald Trump being president, right? So that was good, thank you, when it was very unlikely at the time back in, I think it was even before 2015. Some of that stuff, sure, there's something to it. And he was also accurate about Barack Obama becoming the president back in 2008. Back in early 2008, there were, prophecies, this and that, from Kim Clement and others. But Kim Clement is the one I remember the most, talking about Obama becoming the president. Okay, he got that right. But what was the other part that he was saying, basically as if God's talking to him 100% about everything and it's 1,000% accurate? This is what pissed me off about what he said. Barack Obama will unite all the races in the United States when he's the president of the United States.
Bull crap, buddy boy.
Hello? Did Barack Obama unite the country? Did Barack Obama unite the country, or did he basically throw gas on a wildfire? I think he threw gas on a wildfire. So just looking back on that, I'm not offended by it, but it enraged me to no end to think about Barack Obama is going to unite all races in this country. Yeah, okay. That's why all these people acted like jackasses. All these people that don't agree with, Trump or whatever, acted like jackasses the entire presidency and the entire year when Donald Trump was running for president. It wouldn't have been that way if not for Barack Obama basically, again, throwing gas on a wildfire. That was already burning. It was already burning. But then we also got to see people's true feelings when the whole George Floyd thing happened. So, we got to see people's true feelings of how much they hate this country. It's not everybody, of course. And thank God in heaven for those of all races, of all colors, of all, breeds. Breeds, you get the idea. We're all breeds. Well, yeah, I'm a breed. I'm half Lebanese, I'm British, and I'm German. British and German. So there it is. There, I'm three breeds, you could say. I'm a mutt, bark, bark, or I'm a cross, or whatever you want to say. Arf, arf. But what the hell? But no, thank God for those out there that understand and they believe in this country, they believe in this president, and they're looking forward to hopefully 4 more years coming up here on the 6th. But a lot of these prophecies right now, I'm at a point now, like there was a guy talking about with a, he's an Indian guy, well-meaning as all get out, but talking about how December 12th is going to be a huge day of change and everything's going to turn red. It's going to be a red wave. Well-meaning guy, but December 12th, did you see anything really happen? I mean, maybe certain things happened, but not much. So that's when it's like, okay, guys, I'm not going to click on that stuff right now. Let's just pray, believe, and God will do his thing. God will do his thing without having to watch YouTube videos or, spend hours listening to some of these prophecies when it's not all there. It's just not. Truth to Ponder kind of ranted about some of that. Bob Bierman of Truth to Ponder. Big shout out to him, of course. Getting things going there in Georgia/Florida area. Awesome show, man. Awesome. I'll keep moving now. Okay, back where I was. The bogus trade agreements with China that have made them the most powerful nation on earth. Funny how our economy exploded when Trump stood up to China. I don't know why I put the China. Stood up to China. Yeah, it absolutely exploded because, we weren't getting ripped off anymore. I mean, that's just like, that's just like saying, hey, here, you're dying, you have low oxygen, here, breathe some oxygen. Oh, okay, now you're doing better. It's like, again, it's like opening a window when carbon monoxide is filling up the room. That kind of thing. China's the carbon monoxide. They're shooting it all over us. Oh, it'll be okay. It's okay. That type of thing. Mao Zedong was really good to his people. Well, was it 60 million deaths? And do we really want Mao Zedong 2.0 to run this country? To run this world? How many billions of deaths are going to come out of that? It's just what the New World Order wants. Just what they want. Georgia Guidestones, Population should be reduced to 500 million, and you ain't one of them. Right? Just like Ted, Ted Turner's a big supporter of that crap. And it's funny what state he's from. Georgia. Yeah. I'd like to see a slowdown of immigration, and it's not because I'm a xenophobe, it's not because I'm a racist, it's because we can only take on so much at once. There's only so much we can take on. I mean, just take a look everywhere. Take a look. I mean, because here's the thing. Not all of them are coming here to work. Not all of them are honest. Not all of them are, not all of them are good people. Just like not everybody here already is good people. Boy, isn't that an underestimation. Not everybody here is good. It's the same bleeping reason, right? Same people already here are not good. Can we slow down a little bit and try to be, and I think it's important to vet countries that house radicals. There should be a mandatory vetting in that case that house radicals, where you just background checks, this and that. Is that really the worst thing in the world? And that would include like a voter ID situation, which I didn't even write down here in my notes. Voter ID is a big freaking thing with me, boy. For the longest time, it's like I kind of blanked on it years ago, and then it's like, oh well, that should be common sense, right? Where you could literally just go anywhere, and I'm Joe Blow who died 20 years ago. But I'm Joe Blow, and I'm voting for Joe Biden, this and that. And obviously it's been a topic that's been going on for many years. But, well, without voter ID, Joe Blow, who died 20 years ago, is going to vote for Joe Biden. That's right. And Jane Blow is going to vote for Joe Biden, who died 50 years ago. And Uncle Tom, who died 5 years ago, is also going to vote for Joe Biden. And on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And even the case of dead cats. Can you imagine dead cats? I always joke about Chloe voted for Trump, but she died in 2007. That was my beautiful black cat, Chloe, legendary cat who was born in 1990, died in 2007. But yeah, she voted for Joe Biden also. If you look it up, I don't know how she did it, but she somehow did. Some cases of people that died 50 years ago in like the New York, California, places like that, voted for Biden. But only for Biden, too. They didn't vote for anybody else. They didn't vote for any senators or blah, blah, blah. But just want to make sure that Joe Biden gets those votes, doggone it. Because that way we can get things rolling. Like in the Georgias, Pennsylvania, blah, 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 blah. It's amazing stuff. It really is. Another thing, too, we're talking about the mandated, vetting, this and that. What would any other country do? Does China have their doors open to everybody all the time, anytime they want? Vietnam? Mexico? Japan, hell, Sweden, Canada. I mean, well, Canada, yes. They're they're basically the radical left of the United States. So Canada, yes. But all the other countries are like, no, not necessarily. And some of them are flat out mean about it. They're flat out 10 times stricter than like a Donald Trump even would be. So what the hell? What the hell's the problem? We're just automatically, just an open door turnstile because we're spoiled. We're just spoiled rich boys over here, rich boys and girls. Is that all it is? Why are we wallowing in that? Why do we have to wallow in that kind of nonsense and let other countries just say, yeah, well, screw you. All right, we didn't have it as good as you, so screw you. We're going to take as much as we can until you're poor, until you suck. And then guess what? There'll be nowhere else to go. How stupid is that? Oh, I hate you for having that nice house that you're letting me live in. So I'm going to smash all the windows and I'm going to burn the walls down just to make it like my country. Oh, shoot, but I'm still living here. Oh, what did I do that for? Gotcha. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense? That's like the people like Ilhan Omar with that big frickin' mouth. Oh my goodness. Oh, I am telling you. People like her, they come here and are, we're just allowing her to just come and push us around and boss us around, and she says all these terrible things about Israel and how we need to just bend over backwards for whatever she wants. And this and that, and her policies, we got to bend over to her, boy. Let me tell you. And it's like, no, we don't. It's not about hating Ilhan Omar. It's about I strongly disagree. And who the hell are you to come here and push us around like we're the worst country ever? What do you mean we're the worst country ever? Like we just don't get it, and we're privileged and we're evil. Well, you're sounding pretty evil too. The whole talk about, say, slavery and everything, it's been in every country. The history's in every country. In fact, it still happens in Somalia. And it ain't rich white people that are in charge of the slaves in Somalia. Okay? So that's another conversation for another day. I guess you could kind of say it belongs in this show as well. Fairness, honesty, and integrity, which seems to be lacking from the other side on a daily basis. Again, like I was talking about the marriage thing. I was talking about, just generally speaking, the voter ID. Like, without voter ID, how can you be honest and integrity? Or how can you have honesty and integrity? How can you have it? There are evil New World Order Republicans, neocons, this and that. There are a lot of them. Believe me, they are not. But the point is, they're not conservatives. Replace them with American First conservatives. Replace them with America First conservatives. There are a lot of them out there. Rand Paul's America First. Obviously, Trump is. Ronald Reagan, I believe, was, but he kind of gave in a bit because his life was in danger thanks to his evil vice president who was basically forced upon him. He didn't want George H.W. Bush. He didn't. And there was an attempt in Ronald Reagan's life that a lot of younger people might not be able to remember because it was too long ago. In fact, I was too young. 1981, I was only 2 years old. I'm 41, not 51. But there was an attempt on Ronald Reagan's life right when he became president. And who would have been the president if Ronald Reagan died when he was shot? That's right, George H.W. Bush. The guy who constantly talked about the New World Order. A New World Order. An order in which an order in which a credible United Nations controls the conduct of the UN's founders. It's just the most unbelievable stuff. Governs and controls the conduct of the UN's founders. This and that, governs the conduct of nations. We have a real chance at this New World Order. When we are successful, and we will be, that type of thing. It's just unbelievable. We have a real chance at this New World Order, and that we will achieve the peacekeeping role and the promise and vision of the UN's founders, that type of thing. But their kind of peace is the type of peace of, like, control. You're under our control. We're in charge, and you're not. Get the hell out of our way. That's what kind of peacekeeping they're talking about with any type of New World Order. It's not a good thing. It's unfortunate to think that a man that a lot of us may have admired in the late 80s, before he started saying all that stuff, we might have admired him because he was Ronald Reagan's vice president. But then, he started saying some of those weird things. Back then, our teachers and stuff in school thought that. I still remember the teacher bringing it up for a second. Like, don't worry, that's not the one world government in the Bible. He's just talking about keeping peace throughout the world. And unfortunately, I don't think that's accurate. I don't. I don't think it's accurate. I'm very anti-New World Order. I'm very anti-globalist. I'll probably have many shows in the future about that. It's risky business, obviously. People get kicked off, and people get this. They get threatened with this, then that, like the Alex Joneses of the world and other broadcasts that have been vetted and kicked out, this and that, because they dare to disagree with the plan, the big idea, the New World Order. The illumination of 1,000 points of light. That's another thing George H.W. said. How creepy is that? The illumination of 1,000 points of light? Like, where did that come from? And it's like you find out that is some serious secret society stuff from the Illuminati. I mean, it's real. Some of you might be like, Illuminati, give me a break. That just started when social media kind of had its boom. Now everybody's talking about the Illuminati. No, it's because people finally got to spread the word about it. That's why. That's why you're finally hearing about it now, compared to back in 1990. Because back in 1990, who controlled the media? The newspapers and television. Are they going to tell you about the Illuminati? No. But maybe certain radio shows might have for a minute or two. That's the thing. That's why it wasn't out there as much. Just think about that for a minute. That's the reason. That is the reason, doggone it. So, what a weird, crazy world we live in when you think about all this. Years ago, you wanted to believe, these leaders are out for the greater good. Even a Bill Clinton is a good speaker. He's crooked and he's this and he's that, but he wants best for this country still, even though he's a Democrat. Blah blah blah. He still at least gets it. He still gets the economy, this and that. Yet behind the scenes, he was pro New World Order the whole frickin' time. And that was the real reason for the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal, because what was really happening behind the scenes is he was making deals with China. Okay, and that's been well documented, unfortunately. Making deals with China, making deals with the devil, so to speak, regardless of what you may feel about China itself. Chinese people and tradition and all that, okay, I respect that. The evil government of China, I don't respect. That's what I don't respect. Because they are not out for the greater good. They are out for control and elimination. Elimination. That's right. Of all countries on this planet, which one talks about being overpopulated the most? Which one has control over how many people or how many children you can have? And they're probably about as pro-abortion as it gets because of that reason. That type of thing. Oh, because there's over 1 billion people there, so of course it's overpopulated. You idiots. Of course it is. Doggone it. No. That kind of thing. Many, many, many reasons why I'm a conservative. I might even do a part 2 someday, or it'll be like part of another show, this and that, or just bits and pieces getting thrown in here and there. But there's a lot of reasons to be conservative in this day and age. There's a lot of reasons to be conservative in 1981, when Ronald Reagan first took office. A lot of reasons to be conservative in 1964, when Barry Goldwater was running for president, and Ronald Reagan himself spoke at the RNC supporting Barry Goldwater. It was absolutely not New World Order. That was the true beginning of the end for this country, when Lyndon Baines Johnson took over from I almost called him Bob Kennedy, but for John F. Kennedy. Lyndon Baines Johnson took over for John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy, again, was anti-New World Order. He truly was. Even though he was a Democrat, it's not every Democrat was evil, necessarily. At least he wasn't, that's for sure. And then Barry Goldwater was running against Lyndon Johnson. But unfortunately, frickin' Lyndon Johnson became the president. Who knows how much cheating they did back then? Who knows how much bullcrap happened at that time? Because Barry Goldwater would have been a hell of a better president than Lyndon Bleepin' Johnson. That's what the B stands for, as far as I'm concerned. Like right after his presidency, he was heartbroken and regretting everything. He said, I've ruined this country. What have I done? Blah, blah, blah. He was very heartbroken, according to people in Texas. Obviously, he was from Texas. Alex Jones brought this up years ago, at times that's what the talk was there. He was absolutely heartbroken, and then, of course, he died not long after his presidency. He smoked like crazy, unfortunately, and people were telling him about his health, and he said, I don't care, basically. He died of a heart attack just a couple of years after his presidency was over. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. Heck, even Woodrow Wilson, way back in the day, said that he's the most unhappy man. He has unknowingly ruined the country, and that was when the Federal Reserve got things going and destroyed the dollar, destroyed the American dollar, day by day by day by day by day by day. And then places like the IRS and the Federal Reserve, who literally took over this country right under our noses. And so many people still don't even believe that, still don't even realize that the Federal Express is no more federal than, I just call it the Federal Express. The Federal Reserve is no more federal than the Federal Express, than Federal Express. Years ago, back in 2007, the dollar from 1913 at the beginning of the Federal Reserve was worth 4 cents in 2007. Talk about dilution. Just think about diluting a stock. Like, say, if this phone I'm holding right now is worth, is worth like $1,000 or something of the current currency. So then we turn that $1,000 into $1 billion. So now all of a sudden this phone is the same value of that original $1,000, which has been diluted into $1 billion. Same thing. That's basically what's happened. That's what dilution is. That's what dilution is. So each individual dollar is now worth that much less than it was, 100 years ago or whatever. In that case, that's what dilution is in a stock market as well, where all of a sudden each individual share isn't worth jack squat. You came in with 500 shares, you still have 500 shares, but now they're worth that much less. You just got swindled, my friend, destroyed, and that's what's been happening to this country ever since. That's why pesos in South America or wherever are so worthless, because they did the same bullcrap with the central bank's system, and that's another thing that Donald Trump is fighting against as well. Unfortunately, the average liberal, the average Democrat will tell you a conspiracy theory, shut the hell up, just go away, you're an idiot, you're just a teabagger, which is the most insulting thing I've ever heard. Teabagger? You know what a teabag is, right? Like teabag talk. It's really perverted and disgusting. That's cute. Thank you for the immoral conversation there. It's so rude. Ugh. So stuff like that, even more reasons to be conservative, just to go against people that think that way with that horrible, rotten attitude that is constantly shoved on your throats on a daily basis. With that said, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I certainly did. I hope I didn't offend anybody, but at the end of the day, maybe that's how it goes. That's why it's called freedom of thought, because I want to promote freedom of thought. Don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. Don't say an obvious offensive statement like a word that literally slanders a group of people. But at the same time, don't be afraid to say what's on your mind in terms of, I'm tired of being ripped off. That's not racist. That's not xenophobic. That's not bigoted. Don't be afraid to say, I disagree with gay marriage. You're not a bigot. A bigot is somebody that says, I hate gay people, kill them, hang them. That's not what we're saying. That's not at all what we're saying. So it's a bunch of crap, actually, at the end of the day. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. There are crazy people out there that may feel that way. Well, then let them be exposed, I guess, at the end of the day. Let them be exposed and make a fool out of themselves if they want to go that far. That's not necessarily a godly way to approach things either. So, with that said, wishing all of you a Happy New Year, even though I like Christmas more, but it is what it is. It's New Year, and there's nothing left to say. Christmas season's over. New Year's is basically over as well, and at least the sun's shining. That's good. Now we got a couple more days to find out what's really happening. If you want to look at the prophecies, it's up to you on YouTube and this and that, the conversations from the pastors and stuff. Me, I'm at a point now, I'm just going to sit back, pray, and pray and pray and pray for the best, let God's will be done, that this evil duo does not take over this country in the not too distant future, because it's obviously not just them. It's their party gets stronger and stronger if that were to take place. And all we can do then is keep up the fight against them. Keep up the fight against them and weaken them, just like the bastards did to Donald Trump this whole bleeping time. With that said, Happy New Year, take care, and again, please write a positive rating on iTunes if you could. That would be greatly appreciated. iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, those are places where you can write a positive rating. I need to mention there was one positive rating just a little while ago. I guess it was December 9th already, wow. But I appreciate it very much from Loadmaster. That might be Mark Carlson. He says, a new podcast that shares unrestricted opinion on the events of today. And thank you very much. That might be Mark. I don't know. If it's not Mark, I will say Loadmaster11. Thank you so freaking much for the review. And those out there that are listening that like this show and want to help, please write a positive review for Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, if you can. I'm not sure if you can on there. I know you can for Stitcher. And I've heard even Spotify you can, I believe. But and thanks in advance for those of you that do. Otherwise, take care, Pray for the best. Go Trump, and God bless the United States of America.